Well, we named the dog Indiana.
Well, of course we named it Indiana.
Well,
I mean, doesn't he look like,
Sean Connery?
Sean Connery? A little bit in the face?
A little bit. Yeah.
This is Indiana.
This is Indiana Jones.
Indy, yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, hey, once again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. I am Tim.
I'm Elayne.
And we are Mr. and
Mrs.
Movies. We're back once again. I hope you enjoyed our last foray into interviewing. Thanks again to Kevin Horton for jumping on the interview with us. And we're kind of getting back in the swing of it here. We decided tonight we'll have a little bit more fun, and we're going to do our favorite superhero movies. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this is a big genre, and
especially recently.
Lots of movies added recently. Obviously most people saw a good chunk of, if not all of, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DC Extended Universe, and the ever-growing kind of tentacles off of that. We're now into phase 4 of Marvel. You know, they just came out with SpiderMan Far From Home.
Yes, Far From Home.
Not too long ago. Mm-hmm. So we're launching into the next phase, and more and more to come. But we're going to go through our top 3, technically my top 4, because my number 1 would clearly be The Dark Knight, because that's one of my top 3 films of all time. So, to add a little bit of variety, we're going to have that one just be there, and you'll just know that. And then I'll go through my number 2, 3, 4, and Elayne will do her top 3.
Yes.
So
I will start off with my number 3. My number 3 would be Black Panther. Again, one of the Marvel movies. Great film. I had never really heard of Black Panther in the Marvel comics, so hearing about this in a movie was really cool and really fun. And obviously the CG in this movie is just pretty cool. All the special weapons that they have and all like the sciencey stuff that they do is really kind of cool for this type of movie with, I was going somewhere with that.
Well, I will say, for me, it kind of transcends. I mean, that gets used a lot with superheroes or movies kind of skipping on their own genre. But this one, for me, kind of transcended it because it had a deeper story that was more than just the world's gonna end if you don't stop this bomb.
That's
or whatever.
True. Yes,
yes. So this, brought in the historical, the race relations. It brought in, the abandoned son. It brought back the, quest for the throne. All of that thrown into one, and I think they did a really good job. A lot of the characters,
the casting was very good.
A lot of the characters were more fleshed out than in other movies, comic book movies that I had seen before.
Yes. So this was my number 3.
My number 3, a little bit of a throwback. SpiderMan.
Ooh.
2.
Dose.
2.
The Tobey Maguire ones.
From the original trilogy, which doesn't feel like that long ago, but it really was. This came out when I was in high school.
I think it was 2004.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I went to this when I was down in Illinois for a friend's wedding. I think we went to this as part of the bachelor party.
Really?
Pretty sure. So this one is where he goes up against Dr. Octopus. Doc Ock. Played perfectly by Alfred Molina. And I think the
2004?
2004. That the Tobey Maguire dynamic with Alfred Molina of, teacher and student and the person that he looks up to, and then that becomes the bad guy, and then he in turn has to pull him back from the edge, and it was really well scripted. The effects at the timing, I haven't seen it probably a couple of years now, but blew me away at the time, and beyond that, just a really good story with a lot of weight. So, Spider-Man 2.
Yes. My number 2 would be Wonder Woman, bringing it to the DC now instead of Marvel, which Spider-Man is DC, by the way. And...
Not anymore.
Oh, yeah. It is Marvel, huh? My bad. It is Marvel. Sorry. Anyway, Wonder Woman is DC, and there's a new Wonder Woman coming out hopefully this Christmas. I just read around in December sometime. But I like this movie. I like it as it's a woman hero. She's not really like, she has powers, but they're not like, they weren't, she was kind of born with them kind of a thing. And not like Superman or like how Spider-Man was bit or how like there's gods like Thor and stuff like that. So I just like it because it's a girl, because I like, you know, and she kicks butt. Like she really kicks butt. And Gal Gadot. Sorry. She does great. She does really, really great in this movie. And then you have Chris Pine, also awesome in this flick.
One of the white Chris's.
One of the,
that
yes.
shows up.
Yeah.
In so many of these movies.
So many.
Chris Pine, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt.
Yeah. So many. Yeah. Anyway, good flick. I enjoyed this one. So.
All right. My number 2, I believe have the digital copy, but I don't have the DVD box, would be Thor Ragnarok. Nope, don't own it. I looked. So, third. The second one was Thor Dark World. First one was just Thor. The third one, Thor Ragnarok. Very off the wall, very unexpected, in the vein of Guardians of the Galaxy, but very tongue-in-cheek.
Oh, yes.
Lots of sarcastic, witty humor that was a bit off the wall and unexpected. Taika Waititi, who has gone on to do great things beyond that, really blew me away with direction. He was one of the characters that I literally laughed out loud at every line that he had. And he showed up in other movies.
Was he the Rock one?
He was the Rock guy.
Oh gosh, he is so funny.
Very, very unexpected. Thor Ragnarok came out right when I was like, I'm kind of done with comic book movies. There have been so many. We're on to Iron Man 3, and now we're doing Ant-Man and Guardians. What are all these things? And then Thor was like, oh, that is a really nice breath of fresh air. And had me laughing on the way, and it just surprised me. So, Thor Ragnarok.
And it's a good, Thor Ragnarok is a good segue movie into the Avengers Endgame, right?
Yep.
No, Infinity War.
Built up to that, yes.
Build up to Infinity War, right?
Yep.
Yes, that was it. Yes, very good, very good. All right, so my number 1 is, okay, so technically Superman Returns, but it's, I'm very picky with my Supermans, and I'm a very big fan. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Man of Steel because I don't really like the guy that played Superman. I'm not really a huge fan of the Lex Luthor in that movie. I do like the Lex Luthor in this movie. Very good. Who was that? That was Kevin Spacey. Yes, very good. I like him in this. I also am not a big fan of like Man vs. Steel. Wait, no.
Batman vs. Superman?
Batman vs. That was it. Batman vs. Steel. Yeah. Anyway, not a fan of that one.
Batman vs. Steel.
I don't know.
Sounds like a history show.
Doesn't it though?
Man versus Wild. Man versus Food.
Yeah.
Man versus Steel.
I like this one because it implies that Superman had went away and he came back, and there possibly may have been a love child with Lois Lane, which you inquire about in this movie, which is kind of cool. And I don't know, I like Superman, and
she really does.
I really, really do. And it's not that the original 4-pack of the Christopher Reeves is not bad. It's just, it's so outdated, and the graphics are terrible. But, yeah. So this was like the next one after those movies were made, was this one, basically. So, yeah, I like this one. Yeah, and it came out in 2006, which was a few years after Smallville had started, and obviously Tom Welling hadn't done a movie, and he was in the middle of doing his TV show, so anyway.
She's fine.
I'm
She's
okay.
fine. So then my, again, number 2 of all time, because Dark Knight is number 1, But tops for this list and our purposes is Captain America: Civil War.
Okay, before he goes any longer, we went into this movie and I totally forgot that it was a Captain America movie. And in this movie, so many of the Marvel characters came into it. And I was like, that was weird as like an Avenger movie. And Tim goes, it was in a Captain America movie, not an Avenger movie. And I was like, oh, that makes more sense now.
Yeah. So it was one of the first within the Marvel Cinematic Universe that was like a big ensemble piece.
Very much.
So all the pieces that led to Avengers Endgame were building on each other, but this was the first one that really brought in multiple disparate storylines into one. And the weight of the story had a lot more impact. It was a little bit more real life and emotion and relationship focused than, again, the end of the world is near, we just have to stop this one bad guy.
Yeah.
So the performances were great.
Fighting against each other.
The Civil War, as it implies, the internal struggle between Captain America and Iron Man. Will they, won't they? How are they going to get back together to defeat the big baddie 4 movies down the road?
Yes.
But in this movie, it's perfectly done, well paced, perfectly acted, and it's just a standout for me amongst the other
it's a good one.
18 now Marvel MCU movies.
I'm not sure.
So
there's a lot.
There it is. So quick recap.
I have Black Panther, Wonder Woman, and Superman Returns.
And I have Spider-Man 2. I have Thor Ragnarok, and Captain America: Civil War. Feel free to give us a like or a share, and drop a comment below of what are your top 3 superhero movies of all time. We'd love to hear them, and feel free to let us know what you'd like to see in the next episode. But thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See ya!